A record-breaking semi-final win for Chelsea. They are Wembley bound, their first major final with Mauricio Pochettino as their manager. And it's been a turbulent season so far. And in fact, very up and down 18 months or so under the new ownership of Todd Boehly. But they are through to the final of the EFL Carabao Cup. And what an excellent performance it was tonight. This was more like it. Clinical, dynamic, energetic, and absolutely unstoppable. A record-breaking night, the most goals scored in a semi-final of the Carabao Cup, surpassing a 5-0 result that Liverpool had against Crystal Palace. That is in the second leg, and they equaled the most amount of goals scored ever, which just goes to in a league final semi-cup, which is no mean feat. And yes, it may only be against a championship team, but there's been many a semi-final in the past 60 to 70 years where Premier League clubs have gone up against championship teams or teams below their level of league play, and they haven't put that many goals past them. And when you actually look at the games, both games in balance, they probably should have won both legs by similar margins. But that clinical edge with goals from Disasi, Cole Palmer, Madueke, and there's another name I'm forgetting about as well who scored today. Who else am I forgetting who scored a goal? Enzo Fernandez as well. Absolutely brilliant. And that will send quite a lot of confidence coursing through the veins of Chelsea that return to Stamford Bridge later this week to play Aston Villa in the FA Cup, which is another big game for them indeed. But for me, it was a stellar performance tonight. They had to stand up and deliver. I think the opening 5 to 10 minutes was a little bit nervy. I think Middlesbrough, I think they fancied themselves a little bit. They were trying to capitalize on the mistakes and some of the sloppiness early on from Chelsea. But then Chelsea really started to find their feet. And some of the interchange and the approach play from Chelsea was absolutely phenomenal. Although he didn't get on the score sheet, and I think he only may have assisted one of the goals today. But Raheem Sterling looked absolutely majestic out there. The midfield partnership of Caicedo and Enzo looked absolutely brilliant. Cole Palmer just doing what Cole Palmer does best, looking absolutely tip-top indeed. And something that's been missing from so many Chelsea games over the course of this season has been putting teams to bed, killing teams off. And they did that with simplistic ease tonight as well. And look, as I mentioned at the top of the video, it has been a very turbulent season for Chelsea. There's no doubt about it. Many ups and downs, many problems, and still some big question marks over the ownership, big question marks over these young players, big question marks over Poch. But they're in a final. Go and win that final. Go and pick up some silverware. That buys you time. That gets a huge monkey off the back of Poch as well. This, can he win trophies in England? It may be the smallest of all the trophies that can be won by a Premier League manager. You could throw the Conference League in, similar levels as well, but it is Europe. It is the smallest of all the trophies that you can win, but it is a good start. Because as we all know, in the cold, hard light of day, you want your club winning these trophies. And there's a long way for this Chelsea team to go. But what a stellar performance and an unstoppable display at Stamford Bridge tonight. Now, I want to go to your thoughts, your feelings in the comments section in relation to this game. Mishir said, now that's more like it. And you're right. A lot of people would say, and you'll get the salty comments, but it's only Middlesbrough. Yeah, and we were laughing last week. They couldn't score against them. Because this is the type of, I wouldn't say you've got to score 6 against a championship team every week. That's still an excellent result. But Chelsea should have been doing this far more regularly this season to multiple teams, putting them to bed, killing them off, and making the games easy. So, yes, this is absolutely more like it. For once, I wasn't nervous for the whole game. Well, that's because after about 20 minutes, you were 3-0 up, so the game was done. Carrick is worse than Lampard as a manager. Now, look, that is not true. Okay, they had a terrible night tonight. They got absolutely ripped to pieces. But remember, this is a team with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 players out and missing for multiple reasons. Now, I know Chelsea have got a lot of injuries as well, but they are nowhere near the same level, nowhere near the same standard as the Chelsea players. And they came and they played their style and they played open and they are a little bit naive in that regard and got ripped apart. But Michael Carrick is a very young and fledgling manager. This result tonight is not going to dictate. He's not going to dictate the standard that he can get to, in my very, very humble opinion. Let's be real about that one. Here, this says, I'm waiting for it. It's only Middlesbrough. It's only Fulham tomorrow, though, innit? I'll nip it in the bud now. Of course, and it's not only Middlesbrough. It's a record-breaking semi-final second leg performance and victory. That is something to be proud of. And when you look at a club going through turmoil, Man United have done it, multiple teams have, you find yourself continually breaking records you don't want to break. So first time you lose at home to a team in however many years, first time you get beat back-to-back by a club in 30 years and all this nonsense. My club done it, Chelsea have been doing it. This is a record you want to break. You want to be breaking positive records all the time. So Chelsea fans should be very happy tonight. Here we go. This is from Nick. He says, Middlesbrough were tight at first, but you go behind and play low block, then your plan is scarpered. Do you know what it was? And Chelsea need credit tonight. Do you want to know why I'm going to credit Chelsea? What Chelsea were doing in this game is they were pressing impeccably well. And after the first 10 to 15 minutes, what ended up happening is the Borough players didn't fancy themselves, in the sense of they didn't have the confidence when they were receiving the ball in the half turn to turn into the space, to turn into the danger, to try and play through the midfield. Every ball was the safe option. Play it backwards or play it sideways to somebody that was in a lot of space. And you saw it when you saw Cole Palmer's goal, the fourth goal of the night for Chelsea. The ball was received, and I'm not too sure which player it was that received the ball. It was, I'm going to get his name here now. I think it was, I think it's Daniel Baleza, who's it counts as an error leading to the goal. Although he might have been the guy that actually conceded possession. Oh, no, it wasn't. I think Clark was a centre-back who conceded the possession. But it was a pass that came back to him from his midfielder. That should never have been the pass. He had Cole Palmer right behind him, but he bottled it. He passed responsibility onto his teammates. But why did this happen? Because Chelsea's press was so relentless tonight. Chelsea's press was so good. So there's a lot of credit that must go down to Chelsea tonight. If they weren't up for this game, if they were lackluster, if they weren't pressing, if they weren't pushing, then what you would find is that Borough would have been able to play more through the middle, open up more spaces, and who knows? They could have beaten them tonight. They could have beaten them. And if Chelsea can see the first goal, who knows what happens? But Chelsea deserve credit for their performance tonight. They really do. We move, cup final, bring on Liverpool, revenge. Listen, Liverpool got to get there first. And this is why it's important to be in the final. What if a madness happens tomorrow night? Genuinely, what if a madness happens tomorrow night? What if a madness happens and Fulham knock out Liverpool? And it's not inconceivable. What was the first leg? I want to say the first leg, was it 2-0 Liverpool? Was it more than that? 2-1. One goal in it. What happens in the first 20 minutes if the centre-back gets sent off for Liverpool, gives away a penalty? Fulham go 1-0 up and go through. Now, I'm not saying Fulham can't beat Chelsea in the final, but you're there. You have to beat who's in front of you. It may not even be Liverpool. It probably will be, but it may not be. This here says Mudryk was piss poor. Yeah, I mean, not the best night. Not the best night from him. I will agree with you on that one. Thank you, Emmanuel Drip, for renewing your membership there, 18 months in. And thank you to Rajat Singh for also becoming an official member of the Football Terrace tonight. We're going to be getting Ciaran and Strasbourg Steve on with us very, very soon to talk about this game. But I do want to get your views. I do want to get your opinions on Chelsea this evening. It's our away form that's killing us in the Prem, is what Aziz has got to say here. Chelsea will get hurt by us again, is what Victor has got to say. Victor, football gods, you're not in the final yet. Slow down, my friends. Slow down. Wizard here says Chelsea had a big rest and said they were going to the final. No disrespect, but the opposition are bums. But the opposition are in the semi-final, and they beat them in the first leg. And there's been many a Carabao Cup semi-final where you've had the Premier League teams play a championship side, they haven't battered them to this degree. The fact they broke a record against them tells you everything that you need to know. I mean, I've seen Premier League teams get knocked out at this stage by championship sides. So, listen, it was a very, very good win indeed. That's why Benzema doesn't work for Chelsea. He can't run or press high. I don't know. I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know about that one, Chief. I think he'd do just fine. People think Liverpool game is going to be a shoo-in. I agree. Liverpool got to be really good tomorrow to win. Liverpool will not smoke us, is what Daniel's got to say here. Terry, can I boost your ego? But you are the man, mate. Thank you. That won't boost my ego. That will just is a very nice compliment from yourself. Thank you very much. Devin here says, I doubt that, Terry, lol, but yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, of course it is. You just got football gods on that. Football gods. Football gods. They want us to play Liverpool so we can have redemption over the last two finals. Third time lucky. I do get that. Cole Palmer was dynamite. What a signing this man has been. What a signing this man has been for Chelsea this campaign. 21 years of age. I'm just looking at it now. 14 goals now this season in his entire season so far. 6 assists as well. I think he's played 31 games in all competitions this year. He's having a stellar campaign at 21 years of age. And look, I think Chelsea still need to add more experience. Chelsea still need to add some elder statesmen to this squad. I'm not going to get away from that. But he has been one of the signings of the season without a shadow of a doubt. He has been absolutely impeccable thus far in a Chelsea shirt. And look, Man City, do they regret letting him go? No, because they're Man City and they've got a great squad. However, what an absolute coup. What an absolute brilliant piece of business from look, we've been very, very critical, I think, as football fans of Todd Boehly and co for a lot of their signings, and I think rightfully so at times. But Cole Palmer definitely doesn't fit into that category. He's been absolutely stellar. Miko here says Palmer is probably the best signing since Hazard. You could, Thiago Silva's got something to say about that. How much he cost, Champions League winning. But from an offensive point of view, from an attacking point of view, I can't think of a Chelsea attacker that you bought since you purchased Hazard that's done better than him. Kante would be a shout for the overall one as well. But, Miko, I don't think it's a bad shout for an attack. What attacking players, great question, what attacking players have Chelsea signed since Eden Hazard that have been better than Cole Palmer? Genuinely. Costa. Yeah, Costa's a good shout. There we go. That's a shout. You would throw him in because he helped win you a Premier League. But Palmer's there. He's up there. He's right up there. He really, really is. That's a great shout. Now, I want to praise Poch. Tonight as well, before I bring my panel out. And do you know what I want to praise Poch for? Do you know one of the reasons why I think Chelsea was so much better tonight? Why they were so much more clinical? Why they were more balanced? Chilwell played at left back. Levi Colwill played at centre back. You had Cole Palmer in the 10. Caicedo and Enzo playing in a double pivot. Everybody was where they were meant to be. Everybody was playing, give or take, in their most natural position. And lo and behold, a team plays in their natural position. Players play in their natural position, and the team has better chemistry. The team looks more fluid. There's more cohesive football being played. You're more clinical. Now, yes, this is a championship team. I understand that. But this should be a message to Poch tonight. When you can help it, unless you've got a crazy injury crisis, I know you've had a lot of players out, but you still didn't need to do it. You don't put square pegs in round holes. Play people in their strongest positions, get them comfortable in those positions. And maybe when they've mastered centre-back, you can try them for a bit at left-back. Maybe when they've mastered being a left attacker, you can move them onto the right. Maybe when they've mastered being a brilliant box-to-box central midfielder, you can move them into a role momentarily as a 10. But you can't be moving around these young players so frequently, because you end up making them a jack of all trades and a master of none. And that's something which needs to be said here. So Poch deserves credit tonight, in my personal opinion, for what it is that he did. And I know some will say, well, I'm not going to give him credit. He should have already done it. It's not how I typically work in life. Even if someone's in making mistakes, when they make the change and the improvement, I'll praise them for it and say, well done. But maybe that is just me. Our midfield and defense deserve credit. Yeah, brilliant tonight. They were very, very good indeed. There's no doubt about it. Blaze here also says, for someone coming back from a long-term injury, Chilwell actually looks good. He did tonight. He looked very, very calm indeed. Amazing how we looked competent and fluid with people playing in their natural spots. Cole Palmer with a brace. Cocaine Galadog 2 assists. Not bad. We moved to Friday. Thank you very much, C. I appreciate that super chat. Time to bring out the panel now. We've got Steve and we've got Ciaran that are coming on with us to have their say tonight. Gentlemen, welcome back to the Terrace. Ciaran, congratulations on making the winter surface here as well. Congratulations on making the final, gentlemen. Ciaran, your what did you make of that tonight?
Yeah, I thought we were very good. I thought the interchange was very good, as you said. I thought the midfield and defence deserve a lot of credit for once this season. I thought we were very good, and I think you hit the nail on the head. People were played in their correct positions, and it made a massive difference, I think. But we had too many negatives this season. We reached the final, so it's a positive. So we have to move forward. But I think overall it was a good performance. But we should be putting away teams like that, comfortably like that, and which we did, which is very positive.
Yeah, I agree. Did you echo that, bro? You're on mute, my friend.
Bloody hell, rookie mistake. Sorry about that. I have nothing to complain about today. But Poch got everything spot on. Players got everything spot on. It's what we should have done in the first leg. I'm glad we came out. Didn't really have to put our foot down in the second because we got Villa on Friday. We didn't pick up any injuries as we speak right now. We took off people that needed to come off because we've got Villa in mind. And you know what? We're on our way to Wembley. So, not a lot of teams are going to say that this season. So we've done the hard job getting there. If Liverpool beat Fulham tomorrow, we'll be the underdogs against Liverpool. But yeah, a very good performance all around. Good play from Ben Chilwell. I will say it was nice to see an actual natural left back because it does make a difference in terms of no one. A centre back playing at left back will never do the runs that Ben Chilwell does.
Yeah,
and also with Chilwell, you're gonna have to take that. He's not that good defensively, so you're gonna have to take that with him because you can't coach it out of him. But the runs he made a difference. And I thought everyone played well tonight. Everyone's going to say, well, it's just Middlesbrough. But then you mocked us for losing to them 2 weeks ago. So you can't have it both ways, right? And I'll just say Palmer just start building every game at this moment in time. I like that no one apart from Chelsea fans are really talking about him, which I kind of like. We get to really just enjoy when he's playing for us. All those can battle on their star boys, and we'll just leave this guy here to just start building his legacy. So it was a very, very, very good performance. I will say I did like Middlesbrough's goal. It was a very good goal as well from Middlesbrough, and their fans were very good as well all night long. So
yeah, I did feel. I will say this to Middlesbrough fans. I felt for them. They probably knew they were not going to win, but they came that whole way down. It's freezing cold, cost of living crisis in this country. Traveled all that way. And 25 minutes into the game, it was over. They cut to the faces of the fans, and I did feel a little gutted for them, if I'm being honest, because I thought they were going to lose. But I think for them, if they could have lasted to the 50th, 60th minute before the game was over, that would have been good for them. A lot of people are talking about Liverpool in the final, but Steve, for Chelsea to get a trophy in the first year of Poch, when they've had so much criticism, how important is that to the redevelopment and growth of the football club?
Bro, it's a pretty big flex, I can't lie, because it's very impressive when you see a team, they're not at their best, but they can still compete for trophies somehow, some way. It's very impressive. I envy it as a Newcastle fan, right? Because we have to be amazing. We have to be awesome to get into these finals. And yeah, Chelsea haven't been that great this season. They've had some good performances, some good games. Obviously, Cole Palmer has been a stud throughout the season. When they signed him, I was like, I really like what I saw at Man City, even though there's limited minutes. It was yeah, he's been very impressive, but it's like I said, it's just really impressive the fact that they aren't even at their very best yet, but they're still finding themselves in finals. And they're gonna give a very good game to Villa on Friday, I'm assuming, in the FA Cup. So yeah, it's just we can do the banter stuff, but last time I checked, Middlesbrough haven't lost 6-1 in quite a few years. So it's not everybody is beating them by tons of goals. So I'm not really gonna run that because that's kind of silly. But yeah, it's I envy it definitely.
I hear you on that. Andrew brought something up, Ciaran, about players being in their natural positions. Levi Colwill at centre back, Chilwell where he's meant to be, Caicedo and Enzo. Is it now about Poch seeing this success tonight and then taking it to that next level and doing it against Villa in the FA Cup, doing it in the Premier League games as well?
Of course, he has to. He has to. Like, he just gives us so much outlet. Yeah, as Andrew said, maybe he doesn't give the best defensively. He's not a bad defender, but going forward, he gives us so much outlet. Even that pass through to Sterling was exquisite. It was a great pass through, and he sets up goals. He works hard. He's great pace, and it's just a natural balance on the left hand side. It's just much better. So, I think when we have Reece James, hopefully, and Bell and Chilwell back together, it will make a massive difference to the balance. But I just thought overall, I thought we were very good today, and I think the biggest positive, I think, selling Kai Havertz for that amount of money and bringing in Cole Palmer is just it's just great business, and he's hit the ground running, thank God. And as you said, Man City probably won't miss him because they've so many good players themselves, but he's been just brilliant to watch. And as Andrew said, I'm glad that he's just kind of going under the radar a small bit, and we can get them enjoy him as Chelsea fans. And I'm so happy for him. It's brilliant.
You make a great point there, and I want to throw that to Andrew and just say, Arsenal get Kai Havertz, you end up getting Cole Palmer for £20 million cheaper. I mean, how much could Arsenal do with Cole Palmer right now with his goals and his assists and match-winning performances?
They'd probably be top of the table and clear by about 4 points right now. That's the difference. As much as Kai Havertz has done a little bit for them this season, I just think Palmer is that he comes in. For him to come to a club, even at Chelsea, the way they are this season, and actually just establish himself as the man, it just shows the levels and confidence that he had, even with not getting a lot of minutes under Pep, but just taking whatever Pep installed in those guys and taking it to another club. That's also a great testament to what Pep and his coaching staff do up there. Even the fringe players have the I wouldn't even call it arrogance, the confidence to go in and say, I'm here, I'm going to establish myself, even with people like Sterling and everything like that, and people, even some Chelsea fans at the start will go, what, Cole Palmer? For that 45 million may as well look like 4.5 million right now because it's a steal in this current market. For an England player, who I think Terry, and we've got to remember who the England manager is, if he doesn't take Palmer to the Euros, it'll be a big, massive crime. But he's been sensational, and now I think he's on like 20 GNA for the season. That was his first goals in the League Cup as well. So he hasn't even scored in every round. So it's like he's just established himself.
He has to be on that plane for me as of right now.
He has to be.
I get you take a squad that's used to playing with each other, but I think what you also have to do is you throw in 2 or 3 of those. I don't like the word wild card, but players that have maybe not been involved as much, but have had brilliant seasons. And you look at, Jack Grealish hasn't played much this year, but I look at someone like Palmer can play multiple positions. Great understudy, if you like, for Phil Foden, but someone that could push Phil Foden for a position. James Maddison gets a lot of injuries. Palmer doesn't. He's been a sensation. He's been a sensational bit of business.
Also going to help him. It's also going to help him. And I don't like it, but we're not in Europe this year, so there's no like traveling tax. I know these guys fly first class, but you know what I'm talking about, just the mental fatigue and everything like that. I just think, hopefully, he doesn't get an injury or something like that. I was actually thinking he was one of the players to take off, like for Friday in mind, because we were already 4-0 up. But no, I mean, if I just put everything, protect this guy, because he is the key to Chelsea doing something this season. He really is, I think. So
He certainly is. Steve, from your point of view, as a sort of neutral to this, how impressive have you been with Cole Palmer? And when you consider the price that players go for in 2023-24, 100 million here, 80 million there, to pick him up for what appears to be a very low fee of 45 million in context, he must be in the running right now for one of the signings of the season.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Look, the guy, like I said, I liked him at Man City. The thing that always stood out for me was he's eager to receive the ball. He can strike a ball very, very cleanly and with some power as well. He's just got confidence, man, because he knows his own ability. He's a very confident young man, and he did not look out of place when he came out from Man City. And Pep knew that. Pep don't let just anyone play outside of maybe the few not so great signings that they've made. Very, very rare. But if you play for a Guardiola team at any point, like you're probably rated to some extent. So yeah, he's fantastic value at 45. I mean, he's probably the second or third best right winger in the league right now. And you can also play him at the 10. The guy makes very good runs in behind. He just picks up good position. He knows how to play football. He knows how to play football, and he's consistent. And if you give him game time, clearly we can see that he's going to produce goals and very good performances as well. So yeah, this is nothing but praise for Cole Palmer, really. Yeah, he's a stud, and he'll be a very good player for Chelsea, it looks like. And he has to play for England. I'm not an England fan, but just looking at it as a football fan, yeah, Southgate has to bring Cole Palmer because he's played far better than Saka for me this season. So he deserves to get a chance. But we know how England works with Southgate. So, but yeah, nothing but praise for Cole Palmer, man. Super player. So very, very
yeah. Listen, I think he's been, as you say, absolutely impeccable and deserves so much praise. Some super chats here. First one says everyone was good today, bar Mahalo Mudrik. We had 6 shots on target and 6 goals. Need more of that to climb up the table. Yeah, Ciaran, that clinical edge today was there for everybody to see.
It wasn't there even like 2 weeks ago when we were slating him that we couldn't actually put Middlesbrough to the sword. We missed a few sitters, but today 6 shots on target, 6 goals. As Andrew said, there's absolutely nothing we can complain about tonight. We've complained about so much week in, week out, but no, I think Gary Neville said it on commentary as well. We were ruthless, and that's the main word tonight. We were ruthless, and I just thought the finish was excellent. I seen a lot of chats there about Mudryk. Yeah, he wasn't great at all. His passing and stuff, but yeah, I'm still on that fence. Just give him a small bit more time. That's all.
You know what the positive of this though is, Mudryk? At least Poch noticed it and changed him at half time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's positive. Get Madueke on. It wasn't working, Mudryk. You know, we got a lot of getting of that 3 games in the next 7 days, 8 days. So let's just see what Madueke can do.
I really like Nani as well. I think he's very direct, and he tries to get in behind. He has shots. Yeah. I think at the moment, I know they're both really, really young players, but I think Nani's just edging at the moment with just the way he's playing, 100%.
Yeah.
What do you guys think Cole Palmer's best position is, by the way?
Where he played tonight, I think where he played tonight, just behind the striker, where he can free roam, he can go left, he can go right, he can come behind the striker. I think there he's perfect. As he said even last week, and when he was speaking, he can play all over. He can play left, he can play right, he can play up front, he can play behind, which is great. Yeah. And one thing about him, he never ever complains. If he's put on the left, if he's put on the right, if he's put up front, he just gets on with his job, and it's
I think give him a free role. I think, you know what I mean. I think he likes really though. If you notice him, like centre or to the right, because he's left-footed, he likes to be in the opposite wing. I don't really see him do it on the left. A couple of times today when he did that nutmeg, that backheel nutmeg, and then he looped across him, but he's mainly the centre or just to the right usually.
You know what the most sorry, Terry, I was just gonna say real quick. Most underrated part, and he didn't score a penalty tonight, but most underrated part of Palmer's game is the confidence and the consistency, the penalties. When he takes penalties, and when I'm watching Chelsea, I'm like, it's going in. It's going in. Like that guy, he really is like a.
Well, if Liverpool get through,
talent.
he's going to have to practice them because we'll probably go to penalties in the final if we play Liverpool.
And you say that, but it's probably true. And you know what? You have to have, if you're going to win trophies and all this stuff, you have to have players that will just step up and have the composure to take penalties in big moments. And he is a very good bet to do that consistently. So
yeah, he's excellent. While you were all talking, so I was going to mute you a sec, Ciaran. Again, if you've got any earphones, Ciaran, that would really help. Just get a bit of feedback from your end. Sorry, just looking here at his heat maps as well, Cole Palmer. And sometimes he starts centrally, sometimes he starts on the right, but he always seems to drift that way, as you say. And I think that something that's evolved in me personally when I watch people isn't so much their starting position on the graphics that Sky or TNT Sports put up. It's where they move to. It's a bit, for instance, like people often tell you that KDB, Bruno Fernandes, and Odegaard are not the same player because some play in a 4-2-3-1, some play in a 4-3-3. But when you actually look at their heat maps, where do they touch the ball? Where do they operate? They're almost identical to one another. So for me, they all play the same position. And Cole Palmer actually echoes those same positions. It's all predominantly to that right-hand side. He plays in a similar role to what those three do in terms of where he operates in the territories on the pitch. And I think he can play anywhere, but he seems to love that right-hand side pocket, being able to cut onto his left. But to be honest with you, he says left-footed.
He is left-footed, yeah. See,
this is how good he is.
But he's got both feet.
I didn't know he was left-footed, and that's how you know. I didn't even think about it. I thought, is he left-footed or right-footed? I've never gone and looked. That just shows you how comfortable he is on both of them.
Low-key, he gives me Griezmann vibes for some reason because of the fact that like Griezmann kind of operates on that right, but you could also play him here, there, and everywhere. He's just got that kind of aura. I don't know why Griezmann popped.
I don't know what you kind of call him, but it's, you know, in what he reminds me of is he doesn't quite play that set. It's a cross between a number 10 and a sort of second striker role, if that makes sense. He kind of does both those things very, very, very well. But even looking at his heat map in the EFL Cup, it's all to that right-hand side, changing it and putting it to the Premier League this year. Yes, all the right-hand side. It's very Bruno Fernandes-esque in terms, and Odegaard-esque where he picks up. Even though he starts in what looks like a 10 role, he's still in those areas. So, you know what? And that also helps the person that's playing on the right, cutting onto the inside as well. C here says, when Nkunku came back, whenever that will be, he needs to go to the left wing and Palmer stay in the 10. This kid is getting better, so Nkunku needs to really cook. Well, this is just it. I mean, that's Nkunku's best position. But again, I want to do something here because it's a really good point you make. It's going to be hard to get a heat map for what Christopher Nkunku has done at Chelsea so far because he's barely kicked a ball.
Have you got the heat map from the injury room at Cobham?
So if you go to the heat map last year in the Bundesliga, guess what side of the pitch he predominantly works on?
Is it the right or
the left? So this is where, again, it's about finding the remedy for this. They both take up the same positions on the opposite sides of the pitch. So you have to find a way of making that work to get the best out of both of them, because what they don't do is occupy the same territories. So there is a way. I'm not a manager or a coach. It isn't my job to explain it in intricate detail, but there's a way in which of getting them both to work together, and maybe not for every game, but especially at home against at least 50%, 60% of the league, you're playing both.
But
you know,
we're also thinking though, that's if you're going to be rigid, right? Like Arsenal's like rigid in their like it's Martinelli left, Saka right, whoever up front. These guys don't have to be rigid. Those two, like you say, Palmer can start on the right and Nkunku in the middle, Sterling left, and by like 20 minutes in, they could have all swapped positions because Sterling played right and left today. So it's like it doesn't have to be as rigid as some people would have. You know, these aren't traditional wide players. You know, they're not going to stick. They're not going to have chalk on their boots. Do you know what I mean? So it's like that. Plus, Nkunku's got to get fit first.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. Sasko here says, just put the right players in the right positions. But Poch is stubborn, man. Watch him change next game. Well, I think I want to throw this to the Chelsea fans. If he suddenly, you play Villa on, is it Friday you play Villa?
Yeah. Friday, yeah.
If you play Villa on Friday, suddenly Cole's at left back, you put Enzo into the 10 role as an example, you play with a false 9, and you end up looking really discombobulated and you can't move the ball well. After a result like this, with everybody in their right positions, I know you're in a final, but that's really going to damage fans' relationships with Poch, isn't it? What would you say to that, Ciaran?
100%. It's going to damage. Yeah. As I said before, they just need to be in the natural positions. It's just so simple. It's just simple as that. But 100%, if he does put Caldwell at left back and stupid decisions, playing Enzo in a 10 or whatever, it's just going to disrupt him, not himself, but the players. So it's just black and white. You just have to play Chilwell left back. You have to play like Enzo in the centre of the park. You just have to play them in the natural positions and just let them cook, as the way Palmer's doing at the moment. It's just simple as that, Terry. Just let them play in the natural positions, and I'm positive that we'll see much more better results. Definitely.
How about you? How about yourself, Winter? You're on. I can't hear you now, bro. You're not on. You're not on mute. Still can't hear you. I might have to go out and come back in, my bro. To go out and come back in here, we can't. Strangely, we can't hear you. But I agree. Like, Poch has got to not be stubborn here. He's got to learn from today and go with what works. And I don't think you should just go out of your way to appease fans, because you're meant to know more than the fans. But I think the fans are right on this one. Never understood the criticism of Chilwell, to be fair. Even defensively at left back, he's leagues above Colwell. We'll need a backup for him like we've got with Gusto.
The only thing, Terry, that Chilwell he scares me a bit. I think Gary Neville touched on it as well. It's sad to see him getting so many injuries, and it's not nice when you, just before you're about to play a game, you're worried, am I going to get injured? And you know what? Every time he runs down the left wing or he's in full stride, I'm just thinking to myself, he's going to pull a hamstring, he's going to do something. And I think he has that thing in the back of his mind as well. Am I going to get injured today? It's just worrying for him. It's worrying for us, and it's worrying for himself. It does scare me. I think you can get a good 3 or 4 games out of him, and then he gets injured again. And I do think it's that's in the back of his mind as well. Will I get injured? Will I get injured? Will I get injured? And it's just, hopefully he has a long winning games, because I do think he'd be very, if he's fit and fully I would put him as the first left back in the England team. I don't know, you probably disagree with that, Shaw. I'm not too sure, but when he's fully fit,
I think Luke Shaw and Ben Chilwell both got the same issue. They both get to pick up too many injuries, and I think Mishia gets absolutely spot on. Has to stay fit. Absolutely has to stay fit. That is the be-all and the end-all and the most fundamental element for him. He has to stay fit. So I think that's what most people issue is. Gav here says, doubt Chile will play 3 days after this game. That's true. Now, of course, if there's injury problems and you've got to play Colwell there, that makes a little bit more sense. But it's doing it for a long period of time, not putting players back in their natural positions. Can we hear you now, Andrew?
Hello?
Yes, there we go.
I don't know what happened there. Sorry, modern technology.
Very strange.
Just going to, with that tweet, I was just going to say, with the injuries in the squad, I don't think he can make too many changes. Chile came off after like an hour, so he may start. I think like Gilchrist might start against Villa, something like that. But I think like Gallagher will come in, and maybe Madueke instead of Mudryk, something like that. Those type of changes. Like Caicedo came off with like 20 minutes to go. Maybe Carney even might get a start. We don't know. Carney might get a start. He played 20 minutes tonight. I'd really like to see him given longer minutes, see what he can do. But it's just one of those things. Hopefully, with that game. I don't know why they moved it to a Friday. But there we go. But it really helped us. But we just got to bear and take it. We get through, and then we got Liverpool on Wednesday. It's all good.
You've got to do it. This here from Nav, he says Poch has had the fans on his back about playing people out of position. So hopefully he starts listening to the fans. Fans ain't dumb. No, I don't think fans are dumb. I don't think they're necessarily always right about everything, but they're certainly not dumb. Man like D here, the Shun says Benzema for 6 months with Palmer, assists will be fire. As Chelsea fans, I kind of feel like the Premier League clubs are waiting for what's happened today for Benzema to directly ask to go out on loan for a short period of time. Is this someone you boys want your club to push for? You want your club to go and sign?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Why not just like give me? Why don't I just turn down a winning lottery ticket as well while I'm at it and not take Benzema? Of course, you take Benzema. I think it's all about the wages. I just think it's that. I think it's all about the wages. Obviously, he's on NBA style wages over in Saudi Arabia. He's on like Steph Curry wages. We don't pay Steph Curry wages directly over here. But if he comes and says like 200, 250 for 6 months, I think the board will do it for 6 months. We're not going to buy him because we're probably going to somehow agree a deal for Osherman, something like that. So that will take care of. And I just think, why not? Hey, while he's here, win a cup, go back to Saudi, please with silverware. Yeah, definitely do it. I don't see any reason why not. And I need a plausible reason why a Chelsea fan would say no. And if one of the reasons I would stop Jackson or Broho's progress, then I end the conversation right there because I do not care if Benzema's on the table for 6 months, even less than 6 months. We're like 4.5 months. So yeah, take him.
I mean,
take him.
You guys will be in a Carabao Cup final. Who better in a final to have to rely upon than Karim Benzema? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'd rather have that than respectfully with Broya and Nico Jackson. Like nobody should be turning down Benzema. If you're in a final and you can call him up, even let's say that you guys got Benzema and it didn't work out, but he scored a cup the winning penalty or the winning goal in that game, makes it worth it, really.
Scores a couple of goals in the league, scores a couple of goals in the FA Cup run, get to another final.
I don't get the thing as well that the comment that Benzema doesn't work hard. I think he does.
He works hard.
I think he presses very well. And yeah, yes, he's 36, but put that man in front of the goal, he's going to score goals, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of people talk about this and how he's too old, he can't press how you want. Again, I get what people are saying, but at the same time, you're not pressing for 90 minutes of a game. You don't need him every single minute of every single game. And you need someone who can put the ball into the back of the net. And I think he can do that impeccably well. I also don't think he's as old and as slow and as immobile as people are making out. I watched him play very well for Real Madrid a lot last year. Mm-hmm. And I think he could do an absolute stellar job. He hasn't fouled and flopped and his body let him down in Saudi. He just isn't enjoying... I don't know exactly what it is, but I
don't care. He's got his bag.
It's just that, but I don't even know if it's the money. I just think it's sometimes in life you make a decision. We've all taken jobs that we've got there and gone, oh, it's not for me. We've all gone on holiday somewhere and gone, oh, I look good in the brochure. I don't really like it while I'm here. I don't know if any of you have done this, but sometimes people go on holiday to a place or they visit somewhere for a short period of time and go, wow, you moved there to live, and you go, actually, I don't like it as much. I think it's a combination of maybe he didn't settle where he was living. Maybe the way the football is, some people move to other leagues. Some people go from the Premier League to La Liga and it doesn't feel right. Some people go from the Premier League to the Bundesliga and it's like, now I feel like I'm at home. It's just not been the right fit for him. And I think some people are going, if he struggled in the Saudi League, how can he play in the Prem? I think people are misreading the situation so much.
Well, it's probably easier. Let's face it. Whatever you do, wherever you move to, sometimes you can't find the comforts you had where you lived before. Do you know what I mean? Just because they might not be available and stuff like that. So, listen, anyone would have gone over there for the money. No problem. It's an astronomical wage at 35 years old. You ain't going to get paid that anytime soon. I also think maybe just he's now at the age going, these other guys are not to the level I want to be playing with or finish their career with, even with this astronomical wage. Let me go back for 6 months. And so I'm just surprised Real Madrid haven't really gone back for him. I'm just so surprised.
You know what it is, Andrew? You know what it is? Because unlike Barcelona, who are an emotional club who love to bring back the past and live in vibes, Real Madrid, once you move on, you rarely see players come back. That's what the only instance I can think of someone returning to Real Madrid player or manager was Zidane. And that guy went through UCLs. Like Ronaldo, he's been linked with them before, 3 years ago or whatever. He didn't come back because when Real Madrid are done, it's over.
No, I understand.
And this is this is the thing. Real Madrid are not in desperate need of a goal scorer right now. That they're in and around top of their league. They're scoring goals. They're probably just a little bit annoyed that this little upstart called Girona keep bloody winning, and otherwise they'd be pretty much running away with the league this year.
Oh, yeah.
Chelsea need a goal scorer, and it's a short-term deal. It would be mad if Chelsea paid £50 million for him and put him on a 3-year deal. That would be a crazy piece of business at this stage. But this is a short-term loan. It will probably be for a menial amount of money for a player of his quality. And I think he'd be an imperative individual just to help this young squad over a 6-month period. And who knows, if he has a brilliant 6 months, maybe there's a way of getting him on a really cheap deal, and you still buy your Usherman or your Ivan Toney, but you still maybe have him in the background as somebody who's willing to be on the bench and come on and play a certain amount of games. And I think Arsenal should be looking at that. I'd even want Man United to look at it. If we take him on loan for 6 months and he's excellent here, why not next year do a short-term deal with Rasmus Højlund still learning, or Nicholas Jackson in your case, or an Ivan Toney? This is really, really this. Benzema is one of the greatest football players to ever play football. One of the greatest Champions League players ever. One of the most successful.
Not only that, Harry, it's sorry for interrupting you. It's not only that. It's having him around the training ground. It's having him around, looking at him scoring goals. Them younger players looking at him putting the ball in the back of the net. He has a winning mentality. Yes, he might have a bit of an ego, but Cole Palmer has a bit of an ego, and you need that sometimes. And as just the way he goes about his business, the way he eats, just silly little stuff that the young players need to just pick up on. I just think for 6 months it'd be absolutely crazy not to bring him in.
The risk and reward, it's like there's a lot more to gain than lose. Maybe some tax about it.
This fan base has been crying out for experienced players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big percentage of them. Why would you turn down Benzema?
You said that earlier on, Terry.
He's not prem-proven, Andrew. He's not prem-proven.
A small bit of experience in this Chelsea team can go a long way, I think. 100%. It's just a small little bit, as I was listening to Ben Chilwell. He's young himself, small bit young himself, but he still has to pick up the young players. But if you got a proper experienced player like that, like Benzema up top, it would just, I just think it would do so much good for the young players, 1,000,000%. And look, Brozier might go, he might not go, I don't know. But Nicholas Jackson and Brozier, looking at him in training every day, just the experience he has, I just think it'd be mad not to get him. I just think it'd be mad not to bring him.
Yeah, he certainly would be. Steve here says, big up Tel and crew. I'm legit delighted to see Carney back. That kid is going to be a real baller. But there's a lot in this Chelsea team that could go on to that level. Bring in the right experience around them, and Chelsea are going to have a serious team. Terry, the oldest pro player is 61 years old from China. Albeit China still playing. Age is just a number. Benzema is 36. I'll take him at 36. Look, I don't know his exact lifestyle, but I've never seen him look overweight. I assume due to his religion that he doesn't drink alcohol, which I think is a massive shortener, generally speaking, of careers. If people abuse alcohol, if you're overweight a lot when you're younger. Steve will probably know better than me. Has he ever had any major injuries?
Off the top, so Lyon, I don't think so, and I don't think at Real Madrid, I don't think so.
I'm just going by the amount of goals that he scored. It would have been difficult to score that volume of goals and to have missed large. I'm just looking at his injury record here. I mean, in fairness, he's had a number of injuries in recent years as he's got older. A few days here, but he's missed like a handful of games at a time, as an example. But yeah, I mean, in fairness, he's got a lot of injuries in his career, but they're all relatively short. Looking at this now,
is it a recurring injury or no?
No, it's just like little ankle rests and things like this. But he's never missed in his career at club level. He's never missed more than 6 games, and that was back in 2015. 2015 when he missed 6 games. He never missed more than 6 games with injuries. So there's a lot of little minor injuries, but nothing major.
You would get injuries carrying Real Madrid for the past 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. But there's been no major injuries. And what I mean by that is, if you're 36 and maybe when you were 23 and when you were 29, you did your cruciate. That's going to take its toll later on in your life. If you've had massive hamstring snaps or groin injuries or bad back problems that kept you out for months at a time in your 20s or late 20s, by the time you're at 36, that's going to catch up with you. He's had nothing significant in terms of injuries. He can't move like he did when he was 28, 29, but he's going to be okay for a few. Someone said he's got bad knees here. Maybe, but there's not a lot of older players do. I still think he can manage that. I always remember, like, people say players shouldn't play injured. To a degree, yes, but I've never listened to a footballer that's retired speak saying A lot of them play through injuries. Otherwise, they say if you don't play with little knocks and little problems, your career would be very short because you've always. I don't know if anyone's been an athlete of a certain level. When I used to compete for Team GB, I don't remember not having a problem. Very rarely did I have a problem with my. Did I not have a problem with my body? It'd be like an issue here, or a pull here, or a strain there, or something tore.
You often hear old footballers say that when they get a serious knee injury, it's never 100% again. That knee is never 100%. So whatever even if they don't have another serious injury on it, it's never 100%.
It's a little different now, though. I don't remember who was on with him, but I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and they had a guy on there talking about his knee surgery, and essentially how the way they're doing it now, the knee actually, the modern day medicine that's come out in the last few years, the way they do the cruciate is a lot of people come back with knees stronger than before it happened. Now and that's why a lot of cruciate when I was younger. For footballers, so this is best medical care around. It was 18 months minimum you were out for until you saw him again. Yeah. You see people back in 6 to 9 months now with cruciates, which is a crazy turnaround. And in fact, if you go back 30 years, an ACL pretty much ended your career.
Well, that'll be in the next 10 years. That'll be 6 months because they'll sort that out soon. Because ACLs happen all the time now. So it's ACL, MCL, whatever happens. So those will be once they figure those out. That'll be.
Alan Shearer is probably the only high-profile example of like a 90s, early 2000s player because he did his knee, if I'm not mistaken, a few times, right, Shearer? During his career.
That's how he retired. He got injured.
Yeah, exactly.
Roy Keane as well did his knee bad and came back and was just as good for a large amount of time. So some people did, but it was. I think the players that struggle the most are the fast, tricky players that always slaloming in and out of people because you just can't move in that. You just can't move in that same way. But you couldn't. I think you can more now because the medicine and the treatment is so much better than it was before.
I think Eden Hazard is a prime example of that. Actually, I think Eden Hazard is a prime example. He was amazing at Chelsea, twisting and turning, but for Real Madrid, when he got a few injuries, he just couldn't turn.
His lifestyle as well.
See, Eden Hazard for me is a great example of someone. I mean, he's only 33, but Eden Hazard for me is that example of someone that did Wayne Rooney similar, didn't take care of his body. It didn't have a huge abundance of injuries, but was always looking a little plump, a little overweight, enjoying his food like Wayne Rooney did. And I think that you see a lot of boxers go through this and fighters. You get away with it in your teens and your early 20s. Time you hit those mid to late 20s, it actually catches up with you. It's like, oh my God, my body.
Ricky hasn't had that problem. Ricky hasn't had that problem.
It's really mad, right? So like I was never an athlete to the same degree and level these individuals are, but I probably went from the age of about 21, 22 up until the last couple of years where I was getting by on 4 to 5 hours nights sleep a night. And that was through doing YouTube and having a full-time job, going out late, staying up and watching like stupid stuff, really. I just weren't ever getting enough sleep, but I was never really impacted by it. I had a lot of health issues in the last year. I mean, all these different things to fix it, from taking probiotics to meditation, doing all these things. And the biggest thing that's helped me since I got this Apple Watch is actually monitoring my sleep and getting 8.5 hours sleep a night. And I've done it regularly now for 2 weeks. And it's the best I've felt in 15, 16, 17 months. And my view, again, now reflecting back on everything, is that my body was just exhausted over years of not really taking that good a care of myself in that area. Now, if you're an athlete and you're burning the candle at both ends, that's going to catch up with you at some point. At some stage, your body's just going to say enough is enough. And Eden Hazard, Wayne Rooney, that's what happened to these guys, you know.
Van Basten as well. He had to retire 29 because of knee injuries.
Apple Spy Watch. It's not a spy watch. Listen, I look at it this way. I don't like the idea of people looking in on me, but I'm never doing anything that I'm worried about anybody watching. So it doesn't really bother me too much. It's one of them ones, isn't it? It's who cares? Who cares? It's weird to me. Look, I want to thank everybody that's tuned into this show. We're back tomorrow. Straight Facts with Sava. In the afternoon, actually 11 a.m. in the morning, Ben Jacobs, 3:30 we got Sava, and then Liverpool Fulham match reaction in the afternoon. Listen, until next time, people, take care, goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you